Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a quick video on how to use the Arizona EZ Fletch, the true helical fletching tool. This is pretty much a super affordable fletching tool. You do three veins at once, super quick, and especially if you have two of these to do a whole dozen arrows, it takes no time because you are doing three veins at a time. So the particular one I have is the Mini with the Max left helical. My bow naturally throws the arrows with a left spin, so I went with the matching helical. So with that said, let's get to it. Alright, so what do you need to get the job done? Of course, you need some bare shafts, glue. I'm using AAE vein glue, and of course your veins. I'm using AAE's veins, the hybrids. The cool thing about the hybrids is you don't need a primer pen, so that's pretty cool. Of course, your Arizona EZ Fletching tool or jig. I removed the factory nocks off my arrows, and I'm going with these halos because my arrows are micros, the 4 mil. I had to get the micro halos, so it's a 0.65 to a 0.66 of an inch in diameter, and the other arrows that I've done, these have worked extremely well. So what I'm gonna do is install these to my bare shafts, and after that I'm going to degrease the shafts with some rubbing alcohol, and after that we'll get to gluing. So let's go. Alright, so we have the nocks installed. I did put in my broadheads. I use QAD's 125 grain broadhead, and the reason why I put them in is because I want my blades to match the orientation of my fletchings of the veins. So I'm gonna line up my nock vein with the top of my broadhead. So this is not a perfect setup, and there's a lot of steps that I'm skipping right now. You can obviously spin your arrows before you glue in your inserts, line up your get the wobble out by spinning the arrows, and take the wobble out by twisting the inserts, then install your broadheads, then line them up. You could really go down a pretty nasty rabbit hole, which I kind of did that with the previous video on how I actually built these arrows and the components I'm using and all that stuff. This particular one is just strictly on, hey, how do you use the Arizona EZ Fletch? So this is what it's about. So like I said, I lined up my nock with my broadhead, and then as you can tell on the EZ Fletch, there's one wing that's a different color. So I'm gonna use this off color one as my nock color for my veins. So the color I'm using for my nock vein is pink, and then 2 blues. So one thing you should note is on these guys, I don't know if you can tell, inside of there's a little disc with the spring, and it has all these grooves in it, and you open it up, and inside of there's a tiny little, just a tiny piece of plastic that your insert goes into. Basically acts like a string, like the string of your bow. So what you do with a flathead screwdriver, you push on that little disc that has all the grooves underneath here, and you can line up and change the orientation of that piece of plastic on what the knock goes into. So I lined it up so it lines up perfectly with my knock arrow. So basically, you put in the vanes in the jig, put the glue on there, set your arrow in exactly how you want it, you close it, put this little lid clamp on and push it down about as hard as you can, and wait a minute, take it off, bam, you're done. All right, so like I said, we're gonna degrease the shafts with some rubbing alcohol. You might be tempted to use acetone. Do not do that. That will risk breaking down the carbon fiber and possibly damaging it, not being as strong as it should be. So we'll degrease these bad boys. All right, so make sure you put the vanes in the right orientation. I almost did it backwards. Again, pink is my knock vane, so I put it in my knock wing. Make sure they're evenly seated all the way down, and again that they're in the right orientation. We're going to put the glue. The way I do it is put some dots of glue every, I don't know, quarter inch, half inch or so, and then spread it evenly out. Do that so you don't get too much glue. If you get too much glue while you have the wings shut on the arrow itself and you're waiting for the 1 minute, you're risking that you're actually going to glue the jig itself to your whole arrow setup, and that could be obviously pretty problematic, and it would be a disaster. So again, dot, 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 then spread it out evenly the best you can. Next one, dot, dot, dot. Keep doing that. Spread it. Take your arrow, make sure you're putting it in the right way. Now we wait for a minute. Okay, one thing I should mention, and I totally wasn't thinking just because, I don't know, I'm in a hurry to get these done, is wherever you want your knock arrow to be on your shaft, make a mark with a Sharpie or with something, because you do have to take your broadheads off, okay, before you do this. Okay, it's been about a minute. Let's take this off. I see a little bit of seepage, but that's okay. That's why you should always have a Q-tip when you're doing this, and just wipe away some of the glue that's seeped out. A little bit is totally fine. That's what it looks like. All right, one last thing you do is you add glue to the very ends of each fletching or each vane, to the front and back. Just a nice little dot of glue. One there, one there, Do the same to the front. And I'm stating the obvious here, but this is so when you're shooting at a target, and even really when you're shooting at an animal, you don't want the fletchings to cut as it's going through to get caught up on your target or the animal or anything like that, where it could potentially rip your vein off and slow the arrow down. Obviously, when you're target shooting, you just don't want your arrows to just get completely blown out. The cool thing with knowing how to do this and having all the materials you need is if you do rip a fletching off or it gets cut by one of your arrows or damaged, you could always scrape it off and just get yourself, get your Arizona EZ Fletch out and glue them back on. Okay, so these other arrows, again, I took the broadheads off because I have it marked where my knock arrow is, right there with the silver Sharpie. And I'm gonna move the camera closer so you guys can see a little bit closer the process. There's the mark where my knock arrow is gonna go. Again, for these veins, you do not need to prime them because they're the hybrids, AAE hybrids. Some of the research I've done, people are saying that the hybrids are a little bit heavier than your traditional veins that, at least from AAE, that are not the hybrid. Okay, so I have my veins in. Now I'm going to grab the glue. I'm going to do some dots. Dot. And you guys, I am not an expert at this. This is actually part of my first ever dozen arrows, but man, it's been so easy making them. I just wanted to make another video on a closer look on how to do it. So I have that. Put the arrow in, make sure it's in the groove that it needs to be in. Struggling over here a little. There it goes. Shut it. Make sure somewhat that these wings are evenly spread out before you do it, and then just push in nice and tight, and we wait a minute. Alright, it has been a minute. I like to hold on to these wings as I pull this off. Push this in. Spring loaded, so push and twist and then peel these back. And as long as you didn't put too much glue on there, these should peel back pretty easy. Take the arrow out. There's a little bit of seepage, and really quick, wipe that off a little bit, the best you can. Just like that. That's looking pretty good, you guys. Okay. Finishing touch. Grab the glue and your arrow and seal these ends. Do that there. Kind of spin it. I like to spin it and blow on it a little bit just so you don't get any like ridiculous runoff or something if you put too much glue. It was kind of awkward for me to do it, so I did put a little bit too much glue on these, on the ends, but they'll be fine. All right, there you have it. That's a finished product right there. We got one more arrow to do. Let's go. All right, we'll do the last arrow really quick. Okay, we'll do the last arrow really quick. Make sure there's no glue on here. Again, these particular vanes do not require primer pen, which is really cool. So, glue. Put this bad boy on. Get it nice and tight. Now we wait a minute. Oh, there's my timer. But while you're waiting, not a bad time to practice some of your calling. Okay, take that off. Push this bad boy in. Peel back the little arms. Beautiful. A little bit of seepage. Finish them off. That's it, you guys. All right, you guys, that's it. That took me, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes to do these 3 arrows, and that's with the camera and turning it off, turning it back on, and all that. So if you're on your own, this should not take you very long, just without any distractions. If you have a dozen arrows to do and you have 2 of these guys, I'm telling you, you could bust them out like crazy. While you're waiting for the 1 minute for the first arrow to get set, you're working on your other one. Set the glue, get all the vanes set, put the arrow in, and I bet you by the time you do that, the first arrow is done, where you can take it off and finish it off with gluing the ends. But if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm pretty good at getting back to people that are commenting on the channel. I hope this video was helpful. Please hit that subscribe button and reach out to me. Hit me up some questions. Again, Arizona EZ Fletch, can't go wrong. Check it out. Let's go.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, go.